The baby's not breathing. Help! The scream tore down the aisle. A mother in row 23 clutched a limp toddler, face turning the wrong color. A grape's skin glistened at the corner of his mouth. The father jammed a finger in, panicked. Don't, Rona said. She was already out of her seat, belt still dangling. You'll push it deeper. Ma'am, stay seated, a flight attendant called, voice tight, eyes flicking to the toddler and back. Then she saw the boy's color. Go, please. Rowena took the child into her hands like he was weightless. She turned him face down over her forearm, head lower than his chest, holding his jaw. Then 5 firm back blows between his shoulder blades. The slap of palm to baby back stung the air. Passengers flinched. Someone up front started crying. Come on, baby, the mother whispered, shaking. Rowena flipped him face up, 2 fingers steady for chest thrusts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, steady. Controlled, no wasted movement. The father grabbed the seat back and watched his son's lips darken. Theo, oh God, Rowena angled the baby back down. Another set of back blows harder. The grape moved. She felt it, a shift under small ribs, another blow. Theo coughed. Air rushed back into the cabin in a wave. He coughed again, a wet, angry sound. The grape came out slick against Rowena's palm. The boy wailed in the electric way of babies rejoining the world. The mother's knees buckled. The father's breath broke like something cracked inside his chest. Rowena pressed Theo upright, patted his back, checked his tongue for anything else, quick and clean. She turned to the mother. Hold him like this, keep him upright, small sips of water later, no more grapes. The mother nodded too hard. Thank you, thank you. A flight attendant had an oxygen bottle ready, mask shaking in her hand. Do you need? Monitor him, Rowena said. If he calms and color stays, he's okay. If he gets sleepy, call me. Name, the attendant asked, already scribbling. Her hairline glinted with sweat. Rowena, she said. Rowena Ramos. The seatbelt sign chimed. Everyone still stood. Back in row 31, an old brown suitcase with a taped handle sat lopsided under the window. Its wheels had one stubborn squeak. The tape was silver, wrinkled, caked with dust from too many airports. Hours earlier, that tape had been the punchline. Can you believe this? A girl in white sneakers had lifted her phone at the gate, pouted into the camera, then zoomed across the scene like a searchlight. The old bag squeaked past, pushed by a small woman in an oversized hoodie, face bare, hood up. Guys, it's giving time machine. Like my grandma had that exact thing in 1998. Her boyfriend snorted, adjusting his cap. He nudged the bag with the toe of his shoe as it rolled by. Careful, babe. It might disintegrate. They weren't whispering. Laughter popped up from a cluster of people near the charging station. Someone else said, classic Balikbayan bag upgrade. A woman with a designer carry-on whispered, why are they always like that? Her friend rolled eyes. Rowena didn't slow. She kept her hand firm on the taped handle. The tape bit her fingers. She tightened her grip. She moved by the window, checked the flight number, checked her paper boarding pass twice. The edges had softened from the sweat of her hand. She's cute, though, the influencer said too loudly, half pity, half performance. 8 Vlogger collab. She pushed her phone toward Rowena's face. Rowena looked past the lens at the departure screen. Gate 28. On time. Eyes down, shoulders square. She shifted the suitcase around them without clipping toes. Elevator music hummed, fake cheerful, in the bright aquarium of the terminal. Near the boarding lane, a teenage boy in a cheap suit looked at Rowena's bag, then at the influencers, jaw tightening. He took a step as if to say something, thought better of it, and instead moved to stand by Rowena when they called economy. He reached for the bag without a word. It's heavy, he said. I'll manage, Rowena answered, voice level. Then the bag snagged on a torn strip of carpet. She tugged, the tape creaked, the wheel squealed. The boy put his hand on the side and lifted the front clear so the wheel rolled free. Thanks, she said. Welcome home, he said, the way young people said it now, with politeness like a handshake. He stepped back to his group. At the scanner, the agent waved the influencer couple through like old friends. The girl tossed her hair and laughed into her phone. 17 hours, guys, pray for me. The boyfriend kissed the baby's cheek without looking away from the camera. Theo's first long haul, he announced to no one who mattered. When Rowena reached the scale, the agent looked at the silver tape, then the weight blinking on the screen. 2 kilos over, she said, bored. Rowena swallowed. How much? The agent named a number that made the teenage boy 2 spots ahead wince. He shifted like he wanted to step in, hands twitching at the idea of money he didn't have. Rowena slid her small cloth bag off her shoulder, unzipped the old suitcase just enough to take out a Ziploc of Polvoron and 2 jars wrapped in a blouse. The jars clinked in her hand. "Can these be in carry-on?" she asked. "You can't bring that much," the agent said, already waving another passenger forward. Rowena nodded, zipped the bag, paid. The tape held. The receipt shook in her fingers. On board, someone had left a markered smiley on a napkin on her seat. "Good vibes," the napkin read in bubble letters. The influencer couple took selfies in the bulkhead row. The baby tugged on the strap of his father's designer satchel. "Theo, don't," his mother said, not looking, adding a heart filter to her face. Rowena's seatmate turned out to be the teen boy in the suit. He helped hoist the cloth bag overhead and, without being asked, angled his knee so Rowena had a sliver more space. "You live here or go back?" he asked like small talk. "Go back," Rowena said. "Home for 2 weeks." She adjusted the taped handle under the seat in front, tucking the suitcase like a stubborn pet. Her hands nested over a small rosary, a simple brown thing with a missing bead. He nodded, looking at his hands. "Good to see family." Rowena looked at nothing, saw everything. A calendar on a refrigerator with a date circled in red. A photo of 2 kids eating Halo Halo on a plastic stool. A man's name in her phone who would not pick up again. She closed her eyes and breathed through the plane's stale air. The safety demo played. The influencer couple giggled, trying on the life vests for a shot until a flight attendant shook her head. The mother rolled her eyes and pouted at her phone. "They're so extra," she said into the camera. Takeoff. Clouds like overripe cotton. A flight attendant named Paula stopped by the bulkhead to give the baby an infant belt. The mother sighed and snapped it on Theo's waist like an annoyance. "Can I give him snacks?" the father asked, already unwrapping a container. "Wait until we're at cruising altitude," Paula said. "No grapes, please. Cut any fruit small." She moved on, eyes already tracking another call light. An hour later, the boy in the suit was asleep with his mouth open like a kid. Rowena tucked her rosary into the hoodie pocket, counted seconds between the baby's happy squeals 2 rows up. The father handed him a grape. Whole. The baby mashed it with new teeth, fascinated. The mother was busy writing "babies first" in looping fonts across a story. The father gave him another grape because the first went down fine. The seatbelt sign dinged on mid-descent to the first stopover. Pockets rattled. The plane rocked. Somewhere in row 23, the baby coughed again, then gagged in a quiet way that turned 3 heads and not a 4th. The father laughed nervously. "Buddy." He tilted the baby toward his shoulder and patted too gently. The cough snapped into silence. The mother's voice rose like a string pulled too tight. "Theo, Theo," the father panicked, his finger a hook going blind into a small mouth. The baby's eyes rolled without moving, cheeks going wrong, lips turning wrong, air in the plane too thin suddenly. The call bell pinged. "Is there a medical professional on board?" a flight attendant's voice asked, brittle. Rowena was on her feet before the question finished. Her body knew corridors, babies, terrible small emergencies by heart. The old tape on the suitcase scraped the floor as she pushed it aside with her foot. The boy in the suit jolted awake, eyes wide, and pulled his legs in to clear the aisle. People watched like a screen. 2 rows up, jet-set nails glowed like small pearly fish scales frozen on a hand on a shoulder. The mother made a sound that would sit in throats for hours. The rest was the slap of palm and the measured count. The grape. The cry. Theo clung to his mother, eyes wide, greedy for air. The mother grabbed Rowena's wrist and squeezed like she might break it. Thank you, oh my God." The father, Jet, looked at Rowena like he had never seen a human being before. His cap sat sideways now, phone slack in his hand. He opened and closed his mouth, and only sorry fell out. A flight attendant named Paula leaned in. "Miss Ramos," she asked after a minute, voice low. "Can we get your full name? The captain wants." Rowena shook her head a little, face neutral. "Rowena Santos Ramos," she said anyway. "Do you mind if he?" Rowena glanced at Theo. The baby was pressing his face into his mother's chest, hiccuping little sobs. "Do what you need," Rowena said. "No photos." She looked right at the phone in Jet's hand. He turned it off like it was hot. "Of course," Paula said. She stepped away, hand already to her ear. The cabin breathed. Conversations rose, hushed, like people were embarrassed to own voices. A man in business class craned over the divider. He had been the one who laughed at the gate at the tape. Now he watched his shoe. The teenage boy in the suit slid out of his seat and whispered 8, softly. He put a square of chocolate into Rowena's hoodie pocket like a child bribing courage. She startled, then left it there. Minutes later, the captain's voice cut through the engine hum. It wasn't the usual scheduled talk. It was warm and formal at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Capt. Acampo. Heads lifted. The influencer girl wiped tears and mascara lines from her face. Jet took off his cap and held the edge of it with 2 fingers like a hat had rules. We had a situation in the cabin just now, the captain said. A small passenger needed urgent help. The plane went quiet above a country they couldn't see. Because of the quick actions of Miss Rowena Santos Ramos in seat 31C, that passenger is now okay. Miss Ramos, on behalf of the crew, the airline, and the family, Salamat. Thank you. Rowena stared at the blue fabric of the seat in front of her. Her hands were empty for the first time in months. I understand Miss Ramos is an overseas Filipino worker traveling home, the captain continued, each word crisp. We asked her permission to share her name. People like her build this country and keep families together. A pause, not long enough to be corny, long enough to land. Please join me in thanking her. Applause filled the cabin more honestly than any landing cheer. It wasn't the kind that faded fast. It rolled and kept rolling, row by row, as people stood to look back at Rowena's seat. Paula touched Rowena's elbow with damp eyes. The teenage boy clapped like his hands would sting. The influencer mother stood. She held Theo and came down the aisle, no phone, no filters. She stood by Rowena's seat and spoke low, only loud enough for people close to swear later they heard it. I'm sorry, she said, words choked. For before, at the gate, we were just I'm sorry, thank you for my son. Rowena looked at Theo. He was heavier with the weight of breathing boys again. She touched his hair, a small touch, then let her hand fall. Watch grapes, she said. The mother nodded too many times, tears on her mouth. Jet swallowed, looked at the taped handle under the seat, then at the phone-shaped bruise in his palm. If you want, we'll buy you a new one, a bag. He nodded at the suitcase like a naughty child he'd teased. No need, Rowena said. She picked up the handle and ran her thumb over the tape. It still rolls. Jet opened his mouth again, closed it. Thank you, he managed small. Paula came back with a bottle of water and something else, a white envelope sealed with the airline logo. From the captain, she said. He asked me to give this to you. Rowena took the envelope, raised her eyebrows. Why? Just open it later, Paula said, and then she was gone, answering another call bell, wiping down a tray table like nothing inside it mattered more than the next small kindness. The plane settled. The buzz faded to a soft human hum. Theo fell asleep across his mother's lap. Jet did not touch his phone. The teenage boy munched his own chocolate like a mouse, eyes on a textbook he wasn't reading. Rowena leaned back, hands under her thighs. The envelope sat on her tray neat. She didn't open it. She watched the curve of the wing out the window. The tape on the suitcase shone dull silver under the seat ahead. Hours passed in recycled air. When the wheels kissed the runway, someone started clapping again, late and grateful. Bags shifted. Seat belts clicked. The plane taxied. Gate agents positioned a bridge. People stood too soon, then stopped and remembered a baby crying earlier and sat down without being told. The teenage boy pulled down Rowena's bag for her before the seatbelt sign even went off, gentle like it was a cat. The tape handle creaked. Can I help carry it? He asked. I've got it, Rowena said. Then she nodded at his suit. Interview? He smiled, embarrassed. First job. Good luck, she said. Don't be late. In the jet bridge, the heat was the kind that ate clouds. Passengers clustered around stroller gates and hissed about connections. The influencer couple hovered near Rowena, not sure if they were following her or just trying to stay close so their apology didn't evaporate with the air conditioning. Jet lifted his cap in a small, respectful way again. A ground staff member in a yellow vest waited with a clipboard. She scanned faces, then locked onto Rowena. She walked over with professional warmth. Miss Ramos, she asked. Rowena's shoulders went up a fraction. Yes. The captain sends his thanks again. The staffer shifted the clipboard and handed her a paper. Also, your checked bag fee was refunded. And there's a complimentary suitcase at the carousel if you want it. No obligation. He said to say it like that. Rowena glanced at the silver tape. The wheel's squeak answered like a tired song. She took the paper. Thank you. The staffer was about to leave, then hesitated. Ma'am, your bag, it reminds me of my mother's, she said, half smile, half memory. She taped it the same way. She used to say it still works. It still works, Rowena said. They walked. At the carousel, luggage thumped onto metal in a parade of half-remembered colors. A brand-new suitcase waited to the side, tags uncut, black and polite. Jet stood near it, hands in his pockets, not touching. He cut his eyes to Rowena, a hopeful question without words. Rowena parked the old suitcase next to the new one. She held the tape in one hand and the envelope in the other. The envelope felt heavy. She finally slid a finger under the flap and opened it. Inside were two papers, a handwritten note in neat block letters and a voucher. The note read, "Miss Ramos, thank you. I was the son of a domestic helper. People forget who keeps planes aloft, homes running, kids alive. You didn't. Please accept this as a small thing from someone your strength kept safe today. Capt. Acampo." The voucher was for a rebooked ticket 2 weeks later without fees, an extra baggage allowance, and a line in smaller print, "Complimentary upgrade subject to availability." Rowena's mouth tightened in a way that wasn't a smile exactly. She put the voucher back. Jet shifted. The mother held Theo and bounced him, eyes swollen but soft. "Please," she said to Rowena, voice quiet, "take the new bag with you. We don't deserve to ask you for anything, but I want to do one thing right today." Rowena looked at the black bag. The clasp gleamed. It smelled like new plastic and ambition. She looked at the old suitcase, scuffed and loud as always. She ran her fingers over the tape like reading Braille. Her voice was even when she spoke. "This belonged to my mother," she said. "She brought it to Kuwait in 1997. She brought it back full of chocolates and shampoo wrappers because the kids liked the pictures. I promised I'd bring it one more time." The mother's face crumpled. "I'm sorry," she said again, whisper. People around them slowed just enough to pretend they weren't listening. Rowena lifted the new bag by the handle, testing the balance. Light, smooth, great with life still ahead. She set it down. "I'll take it," she said, "but not instead, together." Jet nodded, throat working. He took the black bag and set its handle beside the taped one, then stood back. "Can I carry this?" the teenage boy asked suddenly, appearing from nowhere with his suit jacket over his shoulder. He pointed at the old suitcase. Rowena thought of his first job, his two big shoes. She nodded. Yes. They walked to the exit like a small, odd procession, an old suitcase that squeaked, a new one that glided, a teenager, a mother holding a baby who had once gone quiet, a father who now kept his phone in his pocket. Near the glass doors, a gap opened in the crowd. A paper sign shook in small hands. The letters were uneven but loud. "Welcome home, Mama Rowena." Two kids in school uniforms bounced beside a thin woman in a faded blouse. The woman saw Rowena, and in her face the longing and the years and the pride collided and made light. Rowena stopped. Time didn't. The teenage boy put the old suitcase handle into her palm like a ceremony. She rolled it forward until the squeak became the sound of arrival. The thin woman hugged her so hard that the taped handle dug into Rowena's thigh. Rowena didn't mind. The kids crashed into her knees. There was laughter that sounded like crying in reverse. Behind them, someone took out a phone and started to aim and then thought better and put it away. The captain, unseen, was walking fast to the next gate. The influencer couple stood close, not for content, but because leaving felt wrong without finishing apology. Jet stepped forward. "Ma'am," he began. Rowena turned, one arm around a kid, the other holding the handle. She looked at him, then at Theo, at the tiny indent on his cheek where his mother's necklace had rested. "Don't make fun of bags," she said, almost mild, "or people who carry them. You never know what's inside." Jet nodded like a student who had learned a lesson late. The mother held Theo closer and kissed his hair. Rowena turned back. The kids tugged. "Mama, what's in the bag?" the little boy asked, eyes gleaming. She knelt, knees cracking, and unzipped the old suitcase partway. The tape peeled back with a familiar sound. Inside were small packages wrapped in print ads, sachets of shampoo, soaps, a pair of shoes with the tag still on, a cheap toy car, a stack of white envelopes with names. "Not riches, treasures. Things we need," she said. "And things we want." The boy reached for the toy. The girl went for the shoes. The thin woman went for Rowena's face, thumb smoothing a forehead line. The teenage boy looked at the luggage carousel like it amazed him that things that left came back. The influencer couple took a step away, making space, absorbing the small orbit of a family that had gravity. People filtered around, carrying their lives on wheels. Rowena stood, the old suitcase by her leg, the new one behind her, the envelope in her pocket, the name the captain had said still echoing in stale air ears. She rolled forward. The crowd parted a little without thinking. They'd seen her hands catch a child out of thin, unfriendly air. They'd heard her name over engines. The taped handle stuck to her palm for a second, then released. The wheel squeaked. The other wheel didn't. She kept going.